What is going on, guys? We are back and we have had our first victory. I know you're thinking, where the hell have we been for the last 2 weeks? And I'll get to that in just 1 second, but I gotta say, guys, we won. We have our first victory, like, in the history of Austin FC, and we scored our first goals. Our first 3 goals, by the way. But just real quickly, before we get into the game and kind of match analysis and all that, just want to say a huge congratulations to Avery. He recently got a promotion at work, so he's absolutely killing it there. Unfortunately for all of us, that means he's picked up a lot more responsibility there. So he's going to be taking a quick sabbatical just to get his feet back under him, get used to the new responsibilities that he's taking care of at work, and then hopefully he will rejoin us when he feels ready. Anyways, so that's out of the way. We won. This is I just want to savor that for a little bit, see how it rolls off my tongue. We won. We won. We got our first victory in the history of Austin FC, and we got to score our first goals in the history of Austin FC, and your boy got to be there for it. So, as you may or may not know, I went to school up in Colorado. I have a lot of really good friends that still live in Denver, and I got to go visit them and watch the game with them. So it was a really special experience for me, without having seen Austin win their first game or score their first goals. That was just kind of the icing on the cake. But let's get into how the match actually went. So actually, real quick, I just want to get into what XG is, because I realize I talk about XG a lot, but it's kind of a technical term. So XG means expected goals, and basically that's a metric used in soccer analysis to rate not only the quantity of chances. You see shots on target, shots off target, stuff like that a lot, but you don't really see, okay, this shot was from inside the 18, and it was, a header, right? As opposed to, okay, this was like a shot from 30 yards out that the guy really had no chance of scoring. And so it rates the quality of these chances and puts it on a scale, and you add them all up at the end. And it basically spits out a number that is the expected goals for the chances that you created, right? So if you have a bunch of good chances in a game, whether you score them or not, if you have a bunch of good chances, you'll have a higher XG, like 3 or 4. If you don't have a good game, you'll be under 1 because you didn't really create enough chances to reasonably be expected to score a goal. So if that makes sense, great. If it doesn't, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. We can talk about it a little bit. You know where we're at, all that stuff. But yeah, so that's XG. So as you can tell, I think XG is super, super important, and here's why. XG is a very good metric in terms of showing you the amount of quality chances that you're putting together. A team can give up a lot of shots, can give up a lot of corner kicks, and not really be in danger of conceding because the other team is taking shots that really have no business going in, if we're being realistic, right? So if you can limit the amount of quality chances, you're going to do a much better job of keeping your opponents at bay than if you give up a few quality chances, and XG actually is the perfect metric to show that. So getting into this game, Austin FC finished with an XG of 1.95. And Colorado Rapids finished with a 1.44. So I know what you're thinking, right? How the hell did we score 3 goals when we only had 1.95 expected goals? Basically, all that means is that we were super clinical with the chances that we created. We did a very good job of being efficient and putting in the chances that we were presented with, and Colorado didn't. And that's generally going to be the story when you win a match is, we were more clinical than the other team. But we still created more opportunities than they did, 1.95 as opposed to their 1.44. So that's a really good indicator that we were actually the dominant team in this match. And not only did we have more XG, we had more possession for the second straight game, by the way. We also outpossessed LA despite losing 2-0. And in fact, we outpossessed them by a wider margin. I believe the LA game we had around 59% possession. This match we had 55% possession, but we also, had more shots. We had more passes played. It was a pretty comprehensive, dominant performance by us, and, I'm actually very, very happy with how this went because Colorado is not an easy place to play. You look at the elevation that we're dealing with, having to come from basically sea level all the way up to a mile high. There's a lot less oxygen-rich air. So I'm really happy with how we ended up playing, and I'm actually surprised at how we were more dominant in the second half when teams generally would start losing their legs. as opposed to coming out strong and then kind of fading as we got more tired with the elevation. So did a really, really good job of playing a complete game, getting our feet under us and not folding as soon as we conceded a goal. So a couple just key performances that I wanted to point out. I think that Cecilio Dominguez was absolutely spectacular, and I think he kind of did a good job of overcoming the problems that he was having in our preseason and as well against LA, where he was trying to do too much. I felt like he was really putting the pressure on himself. He was overthinking things. He was trying to play these Hollywood balls all the way across the field, or trying to meg someone and take 3 defenders on or something like that, when a much simpler option was available. So he did a good job of calming himself down, playing the right balls, and taking risks when it was right to take a risk. And in fact, one of those times that he took a risk, he almost came up with a goal of the season candidate in the second game. I'm talking about the free kick, obviously, in the beginning of the second half, almost from the corner flag. And the keeper is cheating off the line. He sees it and tries to whip the ball in near post, hits the underside of the crossbar and rebounds out. Very, very unlucky. 2 inches lower, absolute worldy goal. And obviously he had the 2 goals, both of which I think weren't the best individual goals. None of our goals were really that great in terms of just ball movement or tactics or someone doing something that's completely unbelievable, but he was in the right place at the right time, and sometimes that's what you need. An ugly goal is the same, it counts the same as a beautiful goal. It's one of those things that doesn't really matter, but it matters to us as fans because we want to see absolute worldies. But sometimes you just need to get the goals on the score sheet. And there were a couple other performances that I thought were really good. Nick Lima did really well, I think. Alex Ring again performed really well, as the captain should. He's very consistent. He's probably the most quality player in my opinion that we have. But Brad Stuver, our keeper, oh my god, he came up with some massive saves. He had a couple one-on-one saves. He had a great reaction save in the second half when Colorado was kind of threatening to bring the deficit down to 1, make it 3-2, and really put their hats in for a chance to tie it. But Brad Stuver absolutely came up huge a couple times and ended up coming up with 5 saves, which more than Colorado had, even though we had more shots on target. So spectacular game from Brad, and hopefully he can keep that performance level up. But yeah, that does it for this week. If you enjoyed, please leave us a like. That really helps us out in terms of algorithm and getting in front of more people and expanding our audience base. And if you want to continue getting news and analysis like this, consider hitting that subscribe button. We come out with this stuff weekly, and we're always looking to add more content. So, like, subscribe, share, make us your homepage on whatever browser you use, all that good stuff. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll talk to you next week, hopefully after another win against Minnesota United.